Hi, I'm Deborah Meaden and I'm standing in the ballroom of North Cadbury Court in front of some lovely artwork that is going to be auctioned to raise funds for a charity that I'm a trustee of. Tusk Trust does work with African conservation. And I'm here today to talk to helicopter pilot turned artist, Hannah Shergold. So Hannah, you're a helicopter pilot turned artist. How does that happen?
Purely happy accident, I think. I was coming to the end of my contract with the army and my last overseas tour was in Africa, and I just spent a lot of time, all my spare time really, was just doodling, drawing, sketching, doing some watercolours, and it was a time filler. I really enjoyed it and I wasn't doing it for any other reason than for my own enjoyment. And somebody saw the work, they wanted to pay money for it. I did a small exhibition out there and the whole thing went from there until it became a viable exit plan really from the army.
You've got a really specific style. Where did you get your inspiration from? Did you train? Is it within you?
No, I didn't train. The last art training I had as such was at A-level, but I was intent I was going to be a vet when I left and went to university, so art definitely took a back seat. But I've always come back to it. I did my degree at university and I then left to be a sculptor, which ran into the 2008 credit crunch, which prompted my application to the army. But again, I've come back to art, and the style really is happy accident of trying to not be so precise, attack work if it gets too precise and try and take it back again. And really it was me taking some builder's scraping tools to a piece that I'd overworked and trying to knock it back a bit so that it had a little bit more energy to it.
Of course, business has to come into art at some point. So how are you handling the business side of things?
The business side is probably one of the bits I'm most proud of, because there isn't a manual for how to build an art business, particularly if you're self-representing. The default would be to go and find a gallery who would like to represent your work. But I've stayed away from that purely because these days, if you work hard enough and you can use social media is your avenue to exhibiting your work and finding an audience and a following, and so the rest really is, I suppose you can learn anything you want on Google, and if that is what is a tax return, right up to how do I build a catalogue using a certain piece of software. I think I enjoy going and finding that information. The whole thing really is a problem-solving exercise, and there are just lots of problems to solve, one after the other, really.
And do you think your army background has helped that?
Without a doubt, yeah. I did the sculpture business before with no life skills, no knowledge really of anything to do with business. And although it's not business specific, I did have to run events, run a budget, manage people, and now I may just have to manage myself, but I think it gives you a lot of skills that you can then just tweak and adapt to work out what you want to do.
And these two pieces are specifically going to be auctioned. The proceeds are all going to go to Tusk, but the entire collection, you're donating a proportion of the sale to Tusk.
That's right.
Anyway, what's your connection with the charity, with the subject?
Tusk is just, I have supported other charities in the past, but I always try and pick ones that I am passionate about what they're doing. So I've supported the UK Invictus Games team, and Born Free is another conservation charity. But for me, Tusk is everything about what they do and how they do it is, and as a result, doing wonderful conservation work. That's why I wanted to get involved with them and really, and of course, at the time I approached Tusk, coronavirus was not a thing, and so I was going to be doing that anyway, but now it's even more important that conservation charities like that have the extra support and the I consider myself really a facilitator for people to give money. I can't give tens of thousands of pounds to help build up Tusk's lost revenue from fundraising, but I can give other people with the money the means to give it to Tusk, give them a reason to do it, really.
So how much did you sell your first picture for?
It was a small collection of watercolours and sketches, and I think they were selling for £200 or £300 each, framed. As I say, I wasn't doing it for anything more than a bit of pocket money, really. But it is the following that has grown, which has allowed the prices to go up significantly. And that was only in 2016, when I still had 2 years left to run in the army. In 2018, when I left, I think the prices were round about the sort of £6,000 to £8,000 mark. But it's the demand for them that has allowed them to go up. And I've tried to keep the exclusivity in the work. I don't do prints. I don't paint in massive volumes. So I want it to remain that whoever buys one of these pieces, they know they've got the only one, and it's always going to be the only one. I can't recreate them because it's a series of happy accidents in each painting. But I want people to feel like they're buying something that no one else is ever going to have.
So hopefully this is going to raise quite a chunk of money for Tusk. Have you got experience in raising big sums of money for charities?
Yes, the first one I did was a World Wildlife Fund charity paint. It was a live paint. I was dressed in black tie at the gala event that they had at the Dorchester, and the piece was created during the dinner, and then it was auctioned at the end. And as a result of that, the Invictus Games team said, actually, we like that idea. Can you do the same for us? And I said yes, I wanted to support, but the model didn't quite work because you didn't have enough time for people to look at the painting, know if they liked it, and then think about what they wanted to bid on it. So we changed it slightly. I created 3 pieces that they would then auction at the fundraiser, and they raised a total of £30,000. And suddenly, this was a really interesting way of putting, as long as the work is good and people resonate with it. And what I wanted to create in the Invictus Games pieces was the idea of celebrating movement rather than celebrating injury. And that resonated with the athletes and with the supporters. So if you can paint things that resonate with the cause that you're trying to support, you have a method of people wanting to buy into it, and hopefully with significant enough amounts of money that it really makes a difference.
So these 2 pieces that are sort of the focus of the auction, because all of the funds from these will go to Tusk.
Yeah.
Why did you choose these 2 pieces?
I think I try not to decide until the whole collection's complete, because you never really know what you like versus what everyone else likes. And actually, the cheetahs were originally going to go into Tusk's gala as one of the live auction pieces, and Tusk, Charlie had selected that himself. It was a sort of unanimous vote from the team there that's the one they liked. So that was one. But also you're trying to make it widely appealing for people, not too off the wall. Elephants are always going to be appealing to people that like conservation charities. So I do try and always put an elephant piece in.
Hannah, I think the work is lovely. You're using your talent for a really important cause, and Tusk is immensely grateful that you're donating these, but also some of the proceeds from the rest of the collection. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
We are hugely grateful to Hannah Shergold for supporting the charity in the midst of this coronavirus crisis. It has never been more urgent that we raise funds to protect the wildlife and the landscape and the habitats of Africa. And we are thrilled that all of these paintings are supporting our work, not least of all these 2 fantastic pictures behind me, which are going to auction with 100% of the proceeds coming to Tusk.
We cannot allow this moment in time to wipe out 30 years of the conservation work that Tusk has been doing. And at the very time when the funds are not flowing into Tusk, there's a greater need for those funds to be applied directly into the conservation field in Africa. So this auction is immensely important. It's important for the work that the money will allow Tusk to do. It's important that it will keep our focus on African conservation. And apart from that, it's a great investment.